Right, let's take a little time to discuss the Richmond Park by-election and the fallout. Now, of course, we are very interested in Richmond Park, and you probably saw the videos where, or you may have seen the videos where we went there and we interviewed Sarah Olney and Christian Woolmar and Andre Fries, who was the Green Party candidate that stepped down in order to help back the Lib Dems. I mean, we were very happy with the outcome, of course, because a lot of people have been feeling that while the Conservatives and Labour were both diving for the UKIP vote, it left the 48% that had voted for Remain completely without a say in how the country moves forward, when, you know, the people is everyone. So Richmond Park was important in restating that voice, and very importantly, it's a cross-party voice. In order to get that result, you had votes from the traditional Lib Dem base, from the Greens, not all of them, because some of them backed Woolmar in protest, but a huge chunk of the Greens, from the Labour base as well, because usually they would poll in Richmond Park in the teens, but this was at 3.7%. And then obviously as well, you had a big shift from the conservative voting base, because that's the only way that the Lib Dems could win, given that Zach Goldsmith, when he ran as a Conservative, had well over 50%. So that vote had contributions for Lib Dem, Green, Labour and the Conservatives, and there was actually quite a lot of Labour activists that joined in to help out with the Lib Dem and the Greens. So it really was the start of a progressive alliance, and I found that very exciting to watch. And I also think it was great that Sarah just won, because that vindicates the position that the Green Party took. It also punishes the Labour Party, because even though they fielded a pro-EU candidate, they got under 5%, which meant that they lost their deposit of £500. So it was a real punishment, and it was a real rebuke, because a lot of pro-EU Labour clearly decided to throw their lot in with the hated Lib Dems in order to make this point. So as we go forward in politics, we're looking at cross-party issues rather than the traditional tribalism, and that is a good thing. But the fallout is interesting, isn't it? Stop. Let's wrap it up here. I've watched the rest of the video and I do rant for ages, so let's tie it up now. Clearly the vote in Richmond Park puts the 48% back on the map and poses the threat to certain Labour seats and certain Conservative seats. Good. It's good to have that frisson back in the game. With the central fear from the Brexit camp that there might be an overturning of the vote to leave the EU, that realistically is not going to happen from the House of Lords. It's also unlikely to happen from the House of Commons by themselves. There's only one body in this country that actually has the legitimacy to run roughshod over the will of the people, and that is the people themselves, should they choose to change their mind. And why would you block that? Why would you block their future voice? Because you're afraid of what the future voice might be. So that's why I think if you believe in the will of the people, then you want their continued involvement on the actual terms, whether it be them directly or through their parliamentarians. So I think that's the key issue here. And with issues, for example, such as the single market, and the EU and the single market are not mechanically linked, you can be out of the EU and in the single market. If those that are charging for hard Brexit think that all the people that voted leave absolutely understood that that meant leaving the single market, and there was complete clarity there, then they should have no issue with that being reasserted at a later date. But anyway, these are the challenges we're coming up to. We've got a complex legal landscape to navigate, and then we've got the understandings of what different people actually want and finding that cohesive path forward. But it is going to be a long battle over quite a long time, so game on.